Hello friends, welcome to my little corner on the interwebs. If you're new here, my name's Kathlena and I'm autistic with a heavy dash of ADHD. I make videos about autism and neurodiversity, so if that's something that you're interested in, be sure to click the subscribe button below. And for all of my friends who have already clicked it, I want to say thank you so much. I'm so grateful to have you here as a part of my pack. I'm currently working on a few videos that is taking a lot of time to research that should be coming out in the next week or so. And so for today, I wanted to do something a little bit easier, a little bit more laid back, and a little bit more fun. So today I'm going to be taking the AQ test, which is an adult assessment online questionnaire that was actually also used during my assessment. I saw Yosemite Sam do a video like this, and she might have actually used the exact same questionnaire. I'm not 100% sure, but I saw her do a video like this a couple of months ago and I loved it. I put it down in my notes for a video idea. I'm not sure if she's the first person that has done this video, but I definitely wanted to give credit where credit's due for where I got my inspiration. I'll make sure to link that video down below in case you guys want to head over to her channel and show her some love. So without further ado, let's hop into the video. So because of the fact that I'm filming on my phone right now, I'm gonna go ahead and just use my laptop to take the questionnaire. So the full name of this test is the Autism Spectrum Quotient. I'll read what they have listed at the top to kind of explain the questionnaire. And I don't have my glasses on right now, so forgive me. The Autism Spectrum Quotient test, also known as the AQ, is a diagnostic questionnaire designed to measure the expression of autism spectrum traits in an individual by his or her own subjective self-assessment. Okay, so this is a 50-question questionnaire, so it's a little bit lengthy. I'll probably stop and explain a few of them that maybe stand out, but for the most part, I'm just gonna go through them and I'll read them and then put in my answer. They have 4 different answers that you can give. 1 is definitely agree, 2 is slightly agree, 3 is slightly disagree, and 4 is definitely disagree. All right, let's go ahead and start. So number 1, I prefer to do things with others rather than on my own. I would say that I slightly disagree with that. Number 2, I prefer to do things the same way over and over again. I would say that I slightly agree with that. Number 3, if I try to imagine something, I find it very easy to create a picture in my mind. What's really interesting about this one, the first time that I took it, I didn't really understand it. And then I started to actually think about it, and I do see things in pictures. But what's really interesting is that I cannot for the life of me imagine faces, which is really, really interesting. The best person that I can do it with is my son, but yeah, even like family members, my husband, if I close my eyes and try to imagine them, I don't actually get a picture of their face in my head. So I'll go ahead and say slightly agree, because I do have good clear pictures on other things. Number 4, I frequently get so strongly absorbed in one thing that I lose sight of other things. Absolutely, definitely agree with that one. Number 5, I often notice small sounds when others do not. Definitely agree with that. And number 6, I usually notice car number plates or similar strings of information. I definitely would agree with that. Okay, so number 7, other people frequently tell me that what I've said is impolite, even though I think it was polite. Absolutely, I would put a definitely agree on that one. I have been in so many situations where I've been having a conversation or asking for something or just telling a story, and then people will get upset with me because something that I did or said or the tone of my voice didn't come off in a polite or kind way. Or sometimes not even sometimes, a lot, I overshare. So that's another thing that apparently people don't really like. All right, so number 8, when I'm reading a story, I can easily imagine what the characters might look like. I'm gonna say slightly disagree. I can imagine like their body, but again, going into face, I just can't imagine faces. And number 9, I am fascinated by dates. I'll go ahead and say definitely agree on that one. Number 10, in a social group, I can easily keep track of several different people's conversations. Absolutely not. 100% disagree. Number 11, I find social situations easy. I will say definitely disagree. Number 12, I tend to notice details that others do not. Definitely. Number 13, I would rather go to the library than a party. I'm gonna say slightly agree on that because it depends on the party. Number 14, I find making up stories easy. Nope, completely disagree with that. This is something that really started to come to light after I had my son. I cannot do imaginary play and I cannot make up stories for the life of me. Number 15, I find myself drawn more strongly to people than to things. I would say that I slightly agree with that because I do appreciate and value humans. For the most part, especially humans that are in my circle, but I also very much so value specific things that I've attached an emotional connection with. So yeah, I'll put slightly agree on that one. Number 16, I tend to have very strong interests, which I get upset about if I can't pursue. I would say that I definitely agree with that. It doesn't happen all of the time, but I would say that the majority of the time, if I start to get absorbed with something that is very interesting for me, and somebody interrupts me or tries to get my attention, I get really irritated. Number 17, I enjoy social chit chat. Absolutely not. Number 18, when I talk, it isn't easy for others to get a word in edgewise. I would say that I slightly disagree with that because I think it depends on the conversation. I have over time, and maybe this is part of masking, I'm not really sure, but I have over time learned to speak a little bit less. I would say probably earlier in my teens and early 20s that this would apply a little bit more. Number 19, I am fascinated by numbers. I would say that I slightly agree. Number 20, when I'm reading a story, I find it difficult to work out the character's intentions. I would say that I slightly agree with that. Number 21, I don't particularly enjoy reading fiction. I definitely agree with that. I am so much more of both in reading and if I'm watching something, I much rather prefer nonfiction. Number 22, I find it hard to make new friends. Definitely agree. Number 23, I notice patterns in things all of the time. I definitely would agree with that. Number 24, I would rather go to the theater than a museum. No. Definitely disagree. Number 25, it does not upset me if my daily routine is disturbed. I would say slightly agree with that because I can be somewhat flexible, but definitely if I have something specific in mind or, something that I really want to get done and that gets disrupted, then I have a really hard time. Or if something unexpected happens, like an unexpected guest, that will very quickly send me into borderline meltdown or potentially full-blown meltdown. Number 26, I frequently find that I don't know how to keep a conversation going. Definitely agree with that. 27, I find it easy to read between the lines when someone's talking to me. Definitely disagree with that. 28, I usually concentrate more on the whole picture rather than on the small details. Definitely disagree with that as well. That is a really big problem for me. 29, I am not very good at remembering phone numbers. Definitely agree with that. Who really, is that actually an autistic thing, or is that just a thing of, having cell phones and not having to remember? 30, I don't usually notice small changes in a situation or a person's appearance. Definitely disagree with that. I'm the first person to notice if somebody got a haircut or if they got a new outfit or any small changes whatsoever. New glasses. Number 31, I know how to tell if someone listening to me is getting bored. I'm teetering between slightly and definitely because I think that I've just gotten to a place where I'm always thinking that people are bored of what I'm saying. So maybe I actually should probably put definitely disagree now that I'm thinking about it and talking about it. Number 32, I find it easy to do more than one thing at once. No, I would say that I slightly disagree with that one. Sometimes I have my moments, but for the most part, it's much more scattered. So I wouldn't say that when I can do it, it's balanced and done well. Yeah, I would much rather just start on one, knock it out, move to the next thing. Number 32, when I talk on the phone, I'm not sure. I'm not sure when it's my turn to speak. Definitely agree with that. Definitely agree with that. I hate talking on the phone for that reason. The whole Oh no, you go ahead, you go ahead. It's the worst. Number 34, I enjoy doing spontaneous things. I definitely disagree with that. Number 35, I am often the last to understand the point of a joke. I would say that I slightly agree with that. I've gotten quite a bit better about, reading into jokes and knowing the difference, but I more often than not don't know if somebody's, especially when it's sarcasm, I don't know if somebody is joking or if they're being truthful. Number 36, I find it easy to work out what someone is thinking or feeling just by looking at their face. I would say that I slightly disagree. 37, if there is an interruption, I can switch back to what I was doing very quickly. Definitely disagree. Definitely disagree with that. 38, I am good at social chit chat. Definitely disagree on that. I will say on that one, when I'm wearing my mask, I can get through it, and I can get through it in a way that people wouldn't at all pick up that I was struggling, but the internal struggle is constant, and I'm always having to read into certain conversations, and pretty much in almost all conversations, I don't really know where to take the conversation. More often than not, I stay quiet and I let the other person speak. People like to talk, and I'm okay letting them talk and believing that I'm just a really good listener. 39, people often tell me that I keep going on and on about the same thing. I would say that I slightly agree with that, because when I get stuck on a certain topic, it's really all that I want to talk about. Again, just going into like kind of having anxiety about never really knowing how people are feeling when I'm talking about something. I don't talk a lot. I've just kind of, again, let other people talk. And but when I get started on something, yeah, I've had people say that I'm just talk about the same thing all the time. 40, when I was young, I used to enjoy playing games involving pretend with other children. I would say that I slightly disagree with that. And here's the reason. I did do imaginary pretend play, but I was never able to come up with the ideas or create the games. I would just go along with whatever the other kids were doing, but I had a really hard time coming up with my own ideas. All right, 10 more. 41, I like to collect information about categories of things, examples, types of cars, birds, trains, plants. I would definitely say that I agree with that for sure. 42, I find it difficult to imagine what it would be like to be somebody else. I would definitely agree with that. And that's not to say that I don't have empathy, because I feel people. I feel people's energy, but especially with certain things, I can't imagine like being another person or, being in their shoes. That's just something that I'm not capable of doing. But that doesn't mean that I don't care about how they're feeling and what they're experiencing, which has to do with empathy. And that is actually one of the videos that I am working on that should be coming out soon. 43, I like to carefully plan any activities I participate in. I definitely agree with that. 44, I enjoy social occasions. I would say that I slightly agree with that, because it depends on the social occasion. If it's around just a few people that I'm very close with, that I absolutely love and I'm comfortable with, I really enjoy it. It's still tiring, but I enjoy it. If it is around people that I don't know or a large group gathering, that would be a definite, I do not enjoy that. 45, I find it difficult to work out people's intentions. I would definitely agree with that. 46, new situations make me anxious. Definitely agree with that. 47, I enjoy meeting new people. Definitely disagree. 48, I am a good diplomat. I would say that I slightly agree with that. 49, I am not very good at remembering people's date of birth. Ha! It was this one. That's funny. I would say I definitely disagree with that. But maybe that's just because I like astrology. And last but not least, 50, I find it very easy to play games with children that involve pretending. Definitely disagree with that, and we've already gone over it. Okay, so now I'm gonna go ahead and hit my score, and my score is 43 out of 50. And scores in the 33 to 50 range indicate significant autistic traits. Well, duh. All right, well, there you have it. I'm autistic. I'll be sure to link this test down below in the description, and if any of you feel inclined to head over and take it yourself, I would love to hear what your score is, or if you've already taken it and you know, drop it down into the comments. I'd also love to know if there were any questions within the questionnaire that you heavily related to or maybe surprised you. So that's it for this week, friends. I had a lot of fun doing this test, and I look forward to hearing from all of you. Remember to be kind to yourself, and I will see you next week.